So, Four Nations, man, it's been really fun to watch. Very good hockey, and it has trumped any type of potential All Star game that there was going to be. And I think that it was something the sport needed desperately. I've enjoyed every single one of these games, and outside of the third period of the USA versus Finland game, all these games have been close. All these games have gone down to the wire, and it makes it for an enjoyable product. And the one thing that's kind of stood out to me the most throughout all of this is that, excuse me, is the is the fact that you have non-traditional hockey fans watching this game and just making sure the audio is good, just saying it's looked really good, enjoying it, really enjoying what's being produced out there. I mean, you're having certain commenters on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that they wish they could have fighting in their sport, whether it was the NFL or whether it was the basketball. Now that would be crazy, seeing in different sports. It's just so enriched in hockey culture. I mean, that USA versus Canada game was everything that any real hockey fan wanted. Uh, Ben been suspended lately. Well, I've been currently taken off suspension from the Bruins bandwidth that I put in the wrong page. Oh, that was funny. But yeah, this whole tournament, this whole Four Nations has been so much fun to watch. And whatever you're fighting, like I should say, rooting for, whether you're somebody from Sweden, somebody from Finland, somebody from Canada, somebody from the United States of America. I mean, all in all, you can watch a game that has nothing to do with your country and just really enjoy the game that's being played. I mean, that Finland game earlier in the day versus Sweden, I loved the tenacity. I mean, I already made a video on it, but I loved what I saw from the Finns. I loved the bounce back, and it just kind of showcased, like, yeah, we had a rough third period against the Americans. Things didn't go our way, but we have the full capability to stick with anybody in this tournament. And I actually agree. It was definitely the main event. That was so much fun. That was really, really so much fun to watch. And as somebody that has been wanting to see Olympics, like with NHL players, best of the best, face off, fight for gold, this lived up to the billing. I mean, I was skeptical on if I thought this was going to be good because I wondered, like, are they going to kind of pull some punches, or, are they going to kind of hold back a bit because it's mid season? But no, man, that was not the case at all at this tournament. I've been so happy that has not been the case. It's been a nice, pleasant surprise for me, and I'm totally happy with being proven wrong. And Daryl says, and he's got the Toronto Maple Leaf hat on. See you in game two. It'll be interesting. I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing here when you look at it. You have, like, this is the standings right here, right now. You have U.S. in first, and then Canada, Finland, and Sweden all tied for two. And there's going to be goal differentials that will, like, really matter. I mean, Finland's going to have to really score a lot of goals if you know they're just going to have to score like so many goals to really have a chance. If for whatever reason, USA loses to Sweden in regulation, pretty much a shoe in. No, Canada can still win it if they win regulation, but it's just going to be very interesting to kind of see how things go, especially because Canada beat Sweden. So yeah, sorry, just this is live, mentally thinking in my head, but it makes for a lot of fun to watch. It really does. Even the Euro game today was fun. No huge action, but yeah, I agree. I think the Finland Sweden game was really good. And what I really, like I said, I loved how there was changes in lead. It was kind of going one way, one bit. Lankinen, I think, played very good for Finland. And it kind of stinks what happened with Gustafsson goes down after the first period, doesn't go back in the game. Olmar kind of gets put in. But yeah, that was a really, really good game. What's a breakdown for potential rematch with Canada? I will say this, and I did. I will say this. I will say this, and I might put this as a short. So I made a video about the USA versus Canada, and I put USA beats the 51st state as a joke, and it's something that I have a lot of buddies of mine. Like we played hockey together. A lot of guys from Canada, all different, like Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. One's actually in Sherbrooke now. But just kind of a little poking fun at that quote that was out there. Just kind of having fun with it. Some Canadians took that the wrong way. Some unsubscribed because they thought I was making some type of political statement. But on this channel, I make that very clear. I don't. I was just kind of poking fun at the ridiculousness of that's a goofy comment in my opinion. The fish like that's never gonna happen. But that was kind of, I was taking the piss. But I know some people can be very sensitive to that, so I'll be a little bit more careful of that in the future because I didn't, especially with the beginning of like having Freebird play in the background and being clearly jokey. I thought that would be picked up on, but some people got really offended on that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that. What was it like watching the Kachucks defending McAvoy game? Lots of into. It's funny is the what I really kind of like. So like I've been very kind of clear on the channel. I mean, even though I'm a Bruins fan, I actually like the Kachucks. I like Brady. I like Matthew. They can be agitators, but they're the exact type of player you want to have on your own team. It kind of stunk that Matthew he wasn't right, and you could tell that affected the Americans, especially in the third, because I think Canada dictated the play for the most part in the third. They were having some good cycles, and USA did a very good job of keeping him to the outside for the most part. McDavid had a very good chance, and then I think was it McKinnon on that made Hellebuck have to make a right pad save. But there was a few chances, but for the most part they kept the Canadians to the outside, which I thought was really impressive and showcases how good defensively the Americans can be. But yeah, I mean, I like the Kachuk brothers. Maybe I'm a rare Bruins fan saying that. I mean, hell, I'd love to have them on my team. Uh, Oliver says Makar going to be back for a rematch. It'll be different. Yeah, Makar didn't look right against Sweden, so I'm hoping he's healthy. Uh, yeah, I mean, Kale Makar would definitely be that's a massive player, right? I mean, nothing against Harley, right? Nothing against Harley in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's a big loss. I mean, they already lost Theodore for the Canadians, and you get Makar and he's not able to go. It's if they face I this was a lot of fun. Like that U.S. face versus Canada game was a lot of fun to watch. I do think if there's a rematch, I still believe Canada could win as well. Like it's not just because the U.S. won this one that they're going to win the next one guaranteed. Like this is going to be a really good game, and if everybody's healthy for both sides, it should be a tight one, and I think it makes it for very good hockey. People saying Cooper screwed up this game by sliding Marsh on the fourth line, only running for 825. Illness, not injury. You know, listen, I like Marchand. I think he's done a lot, but Marchand's not to the caliber of some of the other guys on this roster. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, Canada has some of the best hockey players on the freaking planet. I mean, considering Marchand's a little bit like longer in the tooth, it's impressive he's still able to play out there. And I mean, he's effective when he's out there, but it's just it's not prime Marchand. And if he's got an illness, I'm not too sure. But if he looked a little hurt, it's not too great. But I don't really hold that against Marchand. I think he's done. It's to be expected. I think if you expect prime Marchand, I think you haven't been watching him this season. I don't know what happened to Matthew Tkachuk, but he didn't play the third. No, he was at the end of the bench, right near Pierre, and just kind of sat for the most part. Thea says Bennington played fine. People blaming him are coping. I I think Bennington did play fine. I think the Getzel one, that was kind of rough 5 hole, but he was coming down with some speed. And then the Dylan Larkin, I mean, I really blame the team in front of him there on a poor line change, letting that odd man rush happen, especially in a game of this stakes. And Larkin had a great shot. I mean, Bennington had some really nice saves in this game, like some sprawling saves where the Americans could have had a few more goals. And sure, you want that first one back, but I'm not saying it's the same level of of the Getzel one, but clearly McDavid had nowhere else to go for the Canadian goal. He only had to go. The only space he had to go was go back in. If Hellebuck kind of read that a bit better, that shouldn't have gone in. But that was a beautiful finish, and I don't hold that against goaltenders and high stakes coming down with speed. It's the team's got to do better in front of him. I mean, it's kind of hard though. With McDavid is just so goddamn fast. Like watching on TV, he looks fast, but watching him live, it's a completely different animal. That man's got like an insane amount of wheels. He needs to be Oh my god. Maybe that's the case. I mean, we saw three fights in the first one. Maybe we can have a lick off one of these points. Two bad goals today. Full disclosure, I don't like Benner at all. That line change was absolutely horrible. Absolutely bad change, but that's savable. Can't wait for US Finland rematch. All right, sweet. We got some Finns fans. Yeah, no, I think the see, I agree. I disagree with you there, Sean. I think the Dylan Larkin one, that was just a perfectly placed shot right inside the bar, and the Getzel one I'll give you. That's a 5-hole shot, especially in today's day and age with the goaltending. I mean, that's one you gotta have. But kind of going into this tournament, like this was going to be the weakness for this Canadian team. If they were going to have a downfall, it was because of the goaltending, because they made the very random decision of going with Bennington, Montembeault, Hill over Logan Thompson. I mean, that was going to be what cost them. Doughty's hit on Hughes was personal. Then Bika, yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I loved in this tournament. I've absolutely loved in this tournament is the physicality. And this game, probably more than the other ones. I mean, you had guys just getting destroyed, right? The blue line, right in the middle, in the neutral zone. It was so good. I loved it, and Olympic play, you don't have fights. That was such a cool way to start the game. I absolutely love that. Slavin says Slavin has been tremendous. I think he's also a defenseman with the Carolina Hurricanes that doesn't get the proper notoriety he should. Very good defensively, very good poke checking. He's just very good positionally. Can give you some offense as well. Considering the Norris Trophy has more become the best offensive D man than the actual best defenseman, he should still be in that conversation. People said that Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid looked asleep after first goal. That's just what great defense. I wouldn't say they looked. I wouldn't say they looked asleep. I think they had some cycles. I just think the Americans did a very good job of, putting sticks in passing lanes, using their physicality to their advantage. Kind of giving that. I mean, McAvoy did it with Crosby, giving that a little extra shove to kind of send home a message. The Canadians had some good rushes. I mean, McDavid had that very good goal, but he also had a few opportunities where he got a chance to get at top speed, but the Americans played it smart and they were able to stay to their lanes, pick up the proper assignments. I think it was a very good American defensive strategy, and also, the Canadians were 0 for 2 on the power play. Again, the USA did a very good job of keeping them to the outside and making life very easy for Hellebuck. Now, Hellebuck still made some very good saves in this game, but for the most part, he wasn't having to face crazy chances. And if the USA is going to beat Canada, that's kind of the style they have to play. They have to play very smart. They have to stay out of the box if they can, because you don't want to be giving this heavy firepower that the Canadians have, many 5-on-4 opportunities. But when they had to kill a penalty, they did a very good job of doing so. It was a clinic. It was a defensive clinic by the Americans. I thought the USA had a great. Yep, I agree. Absolutely great stick checking. Joshua K says this game was electric, and the booze to not just the anthem, also that poor girl with 3 fights away and hard chick check made this game amazing. So with the anthem stuff, I've already kind of made my video on that. I'm kind of indifferent on that. I don't like. Am I saying, oh, it's amazing? No, but I'm not gonna cry over Canadians booing the national anthem. I don't sweat that stuff as much. It's like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, I'm not going to, you know, get crazily angry at that. It's just, I mean, it's their right if they want to peacefully protest in that way. Only downside of USA Canada is people are going to forget how awesome that Sweden and Finland OT was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. When Granlund though, man, Granlund sniped that 5 hole on Olmark, man. That was crazy. That was that because in Sweden, just before that, like the puck went right between Lankinen's legs and like it went off. I think it was his left skate, back left skate. Like that almost squeaked through. Sweden actually almost won that game in overtime. And then kind of Lincoln, just kind of when he's rotating around, kicked it out. Yeah, that Finland Sweden game was friggin' tremendous. Swayman are the type to make the huge save and then let the routine shot in. Yeah, I mean, as a Bruins fan, I can definitely kind of vouch for that. Crosby's all over the place. He's playing left wing, so less noticeable in shooting situations. Players have nothing to do with it. Respect them at least. I agree. I agree. Poor Sweden. Olmar looked so slow laterally. I think because isn't he just coming back from injury? I don't think he's all the way right. I think he played a game. Don't quote me on that. I think he might have played a game when he got back. But I mean, yeah, I just overall it's been really quite a bit of fun to watch this tournament and kind of going into where is it actually tiebreakers features. So, alrighty. So three-way tie calculation 175. I say so. Total points, and then regulation wins, and then regulation wins and OT wins, excluding shootout wins. Step 4 is goal differential. So if let's say Sweden in Canada, yeah, let's say Sweden and Canada win in regulation. Let's just say for that theory. So then it goes to goal differential. Oh, for all games played, and then calculations for step 6 are now will be derived for games played between tie teams only. So it looks like goal differential. It doesn't look like matchups, which is kind of interesting. Because, looking at this again really quick, Finland has kind of a rough, like Finland's going to have to explode offensively to really get there or win in regulation. And yeah, they got to win in regulation, right? Because they got to play Canada. So, I mean, if they beat Canada, that kind of puts them in there in regulation. But the goal differential might come back to bite them. I mean, Canada only -1 goal differential, so they're kind of a little bit less. Sweden -2. And let's see. Sorry. Oli guessed wrong, and he got caught cheating high glove. Yeah, he kind of looked out of place. They should do a best of 7, Canada versus USA. That'd be crazy. If they did that, man, I don't know. They'd have to like have an extra like a 30-man roster with all the injuries, with all the physical that these games have been. USA now controls their destiny, and if Finland can do the impossible, we'll see USA versus Finland in the championship because of the win against Sweden. That's true. Some of the players look like they can't decide to play on All-Star mode or Olympic mode. I think for the most part, though, most of them have been playing at like playoff type hockey for the most part. Maybe there's a few outliers in that shuffle, but I mean, when I'm watching the game, I'm seeing these guys hard checking, back checking, hustling out there. I mean, I think that's why it's been just wildly popular because guys have been playing their ass off. Stuck knowing they can't get hurt, be able to play for their employees. Some seem a little, yeah. I mean, Matthews. I mean, yeah. I think overall though, because I just want to kind of make this a quick little stream. It's actually kind of funny. There's quite a bit of people. Uh, Overall though, I've been really impressed with what I've seen in Four Nations, and they have what's the Olympics next year? Yeah, the Olympics are next year. And then I think they're doing the Four Nations again the year after. Don't quote me on that. But did you mention that Crosby is now 26-1? And oh my God. So Oh my God. Sidney Crosby's a phenomenal player. But yeah, that was kind of a stat. Like he's undefeated. And I'm like, it's crazy. That is a crazy stat, to be fair. That's an insane stat that he's never lost. That's crazy. So, one thing that got a bit annoying in the broadcast, and I'll say this more because I was watching it on ESPN, was the whole if the Americans win in regulation, it was kind of like a parrot for like the whole third period. It wasn't said like once or twice, but I think it was just said like 8 fucking times. It got a little bit excessive. I'm like, I get it. Yes, if they win, this is like a great thing. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I just, I understand some of them have like these certain things that they write down, but I mean, I think after like the fifth or sixth time, I was like, okay, I don't think the audience is that fucking stupid. I think we get it after the second or third time. So that was, yeah, that was kind of a little bit annoying. That's so on your Canadian broadcast, it wasn't about. I mean, that's understood. It's just there's certain things that each broadcast will have like that just talk about, and they'll just constantly fucking plug it every single few minutes. Or it felt like every single minute at that point. He says Russia would be stacked. It's too bad. So I actually did a kind of like going over the potential roster of Russia. Russia, great goaltending. They have, solid defense. The forwards are good. Their wings are good. Where they would lack a little bit of depth is down the middle. But Russia would have been a lot of fun to watch in this tournament. They would have been easily. I mean, be careful. I understand why some didn't want them included. I get that, but it's a shame because you have Alexander Ovechkin, who's, let's just call it what it is. He's in his twilight years. He's chasing Gretzky's record. If you were to have like 6 teams in this tournament, and you're able to make it like 2 weeks instead of like what is it like 8 or 9 days, I think you could have really had something special, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I still think every single team in this tournament. I mean, they've all been close games, gone to overtime, and 1 goal games. I mean, yeah, technically USA. I mean, these 3-1 against Canada, but I mean, it's an empty net goal. I don't really count that. They were all pretty much 1 goal games aside. Uh, the Finland US game where it got out of hand for the Finns in third. So yeah, it is kind of a shame in that sense. I would have liked to see that, and especially with some of like the mixture of the young talent, like a Michkov with like, I mean, a Demi. I don't know if Demi Duff because he's currently in the KHL, so I don't know if Demi Duff he's drafted, but it would have been cool like some of the young Russian phenoms, with the legend of like Alexander Ovechkin and Malkin. That would have been a cool kind of storyline, in my opinion. 26 Olympics, 27 nations, 28 worlds. Okay, so it's nations, 27. So, and then the worlds. That's great, though. I mean, I kind of prefer this over the friggin' All Star game, personally. Yeah, imagine the guy who goes Crosby's a fraud, 26-0 international competition. Dude is overrated, but, well, I'm going to say that, but yeah, I know. But, I mean, I know you're mainly kind of joking. I'm just hoping I don't get canceled for the joke I put in the title, which I had to change because people were getting pretty mad. I was like, okay, I'll just clearly joking. That Russian, yeah, would be scary. Russia would have no center depth. They'd be good, but yeah, that's kind of the problem. They have Malkin, and then they just outside of him, they don't. They have like solid centers, but nobody crazy. But their wing depth is crazy. I mean, their wing depth is very yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's great. So that could kind of sustain them in that sense if they just have good defensive centers that can kind of do breakouts. A lot of good Russians are aging out, and younger guys like Decay. Yeah, imagine Russian Finland. Now that would have been interesting, and that's if you're into history, there's a whole thing there too as well. That would have been a cool kind of storyline. Fallout said you should have allowed the Russians to play, just make them wear pink and make Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think the Russia is kind of like an inverted Canada, best goaltending and worst center depth. But the thing is with Canada, again, they don't have terrible goaltending. They just didn't pick the right guy. I mean, I don't care if a couple of the guys like Peter DeBoer and Bruce Cassidy don't like Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson is the best goaltender that they could have had. I would take what, because Blackwood's Canadian, right? Yeah, Blackwood. I would have taken Blackwood. I would have taken Logan Thompson. Thompson would be the starter because of the phenomenal year he's having. He's in that Vezina conversation. But they have so many better goalies they could have picked, and they picked like Sam Montembeault and like Bennington and Hill. Like I don't like why you could have had far better goaltending in my opinion, and you shoot yourself in the foot because of like a personal grudge. I just think that's goofy. Because Blackwood and Thompson are far better than the guys that are currently in net for Canada, in my opinion. Sean says, I'm sick of the Allmark for Swayman Monday. No, Swayman doesn't deserve Swayman is the third goalie. Swayman is the third goalie on this U.S. squad. He's not better than Ottinger, and he's not better than Hellebuck. That's not happening. I just don't see it. I mean, I saw some, like, we talked about this, Sean. We saw like some bot company Bruins page. Oh, like USA insulted Jeremy Swayman, and it's just like an article full of ads, like a website full of ads and garbage. Shouldn't have clicked on it. It's my own fault. And it's like because they chose Hellebuck. I'm like, yeah, of course you choose Hellebuck. He's the best goalie in the United States of America, and arguably right now is the best goalie in the league. It's between him and Thompson and a couple other guys. Why wouldn't you pick him? It'd be stupid not to. I'm gonna go with Jeremy Swayman, sub 900 save percentage. Jeremy Swayman, you're crazy. Blackwood did get snubbed. Our goal tennis, I think defense, is what worried me. The guys that picked been mid all season. I mean, our goaltendies. I was gonna say I was confused. Yeah, I mean that's definitely kind of lackluster. Benner gets the nod at 14-19. She says, I'm sick of having to listen to the media narratives. I swear viewership could go up if I could just offer a no comment. You know what, though? Genuine question here. That's actually a good point. I love watching the mic'd up stuff. And I feel like it's amazing to hear the game just very, like at its purest form. I personally would love just to watch a game where you could have the mics on the ice and just hear the boys play and, sure, keep a little overlay for a scoreboard and all that. But I think that'd be far more fun than just some of the commentating that you can hear from time to time. I think that would be a lot of fun. If they made that an option on like ESPN Plus or like NESN or NESN has unstructured views where it's like they're having conversations with former players like Bergeron and things of that nature, like Tuukka Rask. But if they just had like a pure game of hockey, they were mic'd up, you were able to hear them or something, it's figured out on a microphone where you can't pick up anything too crazy, I would definitely watch that. I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch. It's actually one of the reasons why I love the Behind the B series that the Bruins usually produce. Let's see. What was crazy to me during the Sweden versus Finland game? Everyone was, excuse me, acting shocked that they picked Allmark. Like, why is it shocking to pick the goalie? He's been was the best 2 seasons ago and top of the league since. Because, I mean, first off, Gustafsson is kind of having is doing better right now this year. Allmark was actually on a tear before it got dinged up. But yeah, I mean, Allmark is one of the best goalies in the world. I mean, when he's healthy and he's right, yeah, Allmark's a fantastic goaltender. So it's not like Sweden's got good goaltending, and if Allmark can kind of get into a groove, it could be better, if not just as good as Gustafsson. Right? They've all a bunch of players in a bigger league swearing at each other. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I would pay per view that easily. Like, I would. That'd be so much funner. Well, it says, if you're a new viewer, the game is too hard to follow without commentary. It takes time to be able to follow the puck and play. Yeah, but... excuse me. Yeah, but, I mean... Yeah, you're actually, you're not wrong. I think hockey is one of the... I think that's kind of the barrier with hockey at times, right? Is... it is kind of difficult to pick up if you're just a casual. I mean, listen, me and the wife, I mean, she's not into hockey whatsoever. Her household didn't grow up in it at all. So her trying to get her into a game, uh, it's like pulling teeth. So it's just she's just not into it, and that's fine. But I think a lot of it's just like the speed of it, and there's kind of understanding it. But yeah, I could understand that explanation of it. Like, okay, yeah, like you need some commentators that kind of explain the game and what other things are going on. There's limited Swede goalies, actually. Team Sweden goalies. 'Cause, let me see. Yeah, because Erison, right? Yeah, Erison. Yeah, that's a big drop off. That is a massive drop off. Erison. Nothing against him. He does with what he can in Philly, but that's a drop off. A lot of people complain that they can't see the puck. I mean, I think that's why they had what was that on Fox Sports, the puck tracker, dun 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 dun. Just I remember actually remember that PlayStation One game of Fox Sports hockey, like Byron Defoe back in the day. Time for a new one. Russian is hogging all the goalies. I mean, yeah, they have a ton. As a Canucks fan, Marchand has become one of my favorite player on Team Canada. Again, he's one of these guys. It's like with the Kachuk brothers. If he's on your team, you like him. If he's on a different team, you don't like him. Yeah, there's like three, and then it's marginal. Yeah, I mean, I just what I kind of noticed, but I mean that's not overly shocking. But I mean, considering Sweden has had very high end goaltenders at the top, at the peak of the mountain, even like before this. I mean, it's still impressive the product they give you still, but it's not shocking though. Once you get into your third goaltender, I mean, it shouldn't be surprising that there's going to be a considerable drop off. Here's the real thing I want: NHL dark mode turns the ice surface black and the puck white, so you can watch it in bed with lights off. Dude, that would be so friggin' trippy. They would have that. That'd be really trippy. I don't think they would ever do that if they could figure out a way to do that in a broadcast. That would be kind of insane. That would throw me off. That's like sacrilegious to me. But who knows? Maybe I would watch it and I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. Daddy looks like his personal life is in shambles. Have to like the guy though. No, I didn't. I figured Fallout, but I'm just like I'm visioning in my head like a black ice, just a white puck. That's pretty freaking wild. That'd be pretty crazy. But yeah. I mean, overall, I've been very, very, very happy with what I've seen, and I'm hoping the game's not tomorrow, right? It's the day after. I'm just gonna check on my phone. My phone's actually almost dead. Check out my phone. When's the next game for this tournament? It is Monday. So Monday, Canada versus Finland at 1 p.m. And then Sweden versus USA at 8. Okay. All right. It's not too bad. On TNT in the US. Or True TV or Max. One of those subscription services. Again, one of the biggest problems I have with the U.S. coverage in the NHL is like the amount of freaking subscriptions you need, but that's a whole different conversation. Uh, Sean says Sportsnet Canada is brutal to listen to. I don't. I do watch some of their streams and I kind of record some film off their streams, and sometimes I'll just kind of rip stuff off Sportsnet so like I can show highlights. But yeah, some of the broadcasts on Sportsnet can be kind of brutal. I'm not gonna deny that. I want an adult version of the NHL where I can hear all the wild. See, go. That's I agreed. I'm right there with you. I absolutely, dude. If I could hear that unedited, I mean uncensored, that'd be so much fun. Fallout. I'm gonna go stream Helldivers, buddy. Good stream, good videos. I watch even the videos I don't spam comments on. Sorry about the last stream, bombardment. No, dude, I love it, dude. Feel free to. It actually helps me anyways in the algorithm. So when you actually comment a lot, it helps a lot. So do not. You're never gonna hear me say, "Oh, stop commenting." Like comment as much as you want to. I don't sit. I don't care if you sit there for 10 days and just comment every single hour. It helps me out in the algorithm. Bumps up the video. But it's yeah. So don't worry about that. I appreciate your continual support on the channel, man. You've been around for such a long time, and I appreciate all the love and support, man. I do. So you have fun with Helldivers. Actually, if you're in the Discord, join the Discord and send me the link to your Twitch or wherever you stream, and I'll check it out. Actually, President Day in the States. You know what's sad, Sean? Because I work in the maritime industry and I'm constantly on boats. I don't really even recognize holidays anymore. It's all blur to me. Because most of the time, because I work half the year, like if I'm gone, I'm working. So it doesn't matter if it's a holiday, even though it's like double pay. So it's nice then. But you know, it is what it is. Agreed, HBO. That'd be crazy. Hockey presentation and marketing really hold it back. Look how good the USC is, and they really grew as a young company. I think though it's easier to grow something like the USC in this regard. That like what who I forget who had this quote, but like when a ball like when a couple guys are playing a pickup game, right? Nobody kind of really like maybe have a couple guys like go and like watch for a few minutes, right? But when a fight breaks out in the middle of the street between two guys, everybody stops and watches. And I think that's the thing with fighting. It just it's always going to have that draw. It really is, and that's why I think it kind of because for a while, remember it had UFC had the connotation of being human cockfighting. That's what it used to be known as because of how brutal it can be. But usually gore and violence that does sell. Jet Set Radium Future. Canada will remember this one day. Once they beat Finland, all will be made clear. McDavid and Crosby for the win. I mean, yeah, if the United States and uh, Canada face off again in the championship game, this game that they won tonight really has no bearing. It's going to be a whole new game. Canada has so much firepower up front. I mean, offensively, Canada's a lot better than the Americans when it comes to just pure talent alone. Defensively, I think the Americans very good. Same with Canada, and then the goaltending, the Americans have the edge. So yeah, America won, and it was a great game to watch. But does that mean that the Americans are a lock to win in the championship game if Canada goes back? No. Canada's a phenomenal hockey team. That's why this game was so close. It was such a good game to watch. I came back to bitch's video. Got idea. Oh my! I'm not saying that. I'm gonna get canceled. I am gonna get canceled here. Um, Jet said I am also pro. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it adds all the pressure to the USA. It adds a rematch, honestly. I think as an American, I'll say this: like, I don't want to face Canada again. Like that was a great game, we won, but like that's gonna be a tough team to beat. I mean, you have McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby. Like just such good talent on that team. It's it's so crazy. But I mean, as a hockey fan, putting away the American bias, I think it'd be great for hockey if there was another USA Canada. They're just such good games. They really were. I mean, like that was such a beautiful start to the game. Like guys throwing fucking haymakers. It was so much fun. So I mean, I think whoever goes to the championship game, they're gonna have a shot because Sweden forced Canada OT. Finland show they could beat Sweden. I think if it worked out, whoever the USA plays, I think it's going to be a tight game. I do. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be very difficult. I do agree with you, Sean. Though I mean, match wise, I wouldn't want to face Canada again because they're going to be pissed off and ready to go. But I think the Americans can beat all of them. Yes, but I also think the Americans can lose to all of them as well. Sorry, let me kind of scrolling up here. Need to find 97 wingers who know how to. Oh, yeah, McDavid wingers. How do they play with him? Should have brought Hyman. It's actually kind of interesting because it's kind of like goes to that conversation. Like, do you bring the best talent or do you bring the best fit? Right? Because I think even with some Americans, I think there could have been some better options selected. I think they kind of some teams they'll find that match where they're like, maybe this guy isn't as talented as the guy that we could have on this team, but we'll kind of go with the fit because they fit another player stylistically better, you know. But I still think like having a line like when I've seen McKinnon, McDavid, and Crosby together, it's been kind of crazy. Robert says, offensively they looked out of sync tonight. I it's hard because I think the U.S. kept him to the outside for the most part. That's I'm gonna give the Americans that credit. They did a very good job of keeping it to the outside. They did a very good job of mitigating any dangerous opportunities. Because even on the power play, Canada had some good movement, but they weren't able to get anything through crazy. I would say though, at times with Canada, it wasn't on the first power play. I'm trying to remember now. No, it was the second one. They had a few good chances where I felt like if they just shoot it there, it was a better look than just trying to go for the perfect, pretty play. But I think Canada had some chances in the third period. They dictated the play for the most part, but hats off to USA. They kept him to the outside, which is kind of hard to do. Good commentary, no bias at all. I respect him. I appreciate. I try. I mean, I'm gonna always have my biases, and I think I learned after tonight's video. I gotta make sure. I gotta be careful with my joking a little bit too much. I think some people took the title of the original title I had way too seriously. Uh, that's just kind of probably me being a little bit ignorant in respect that I'd understand people just think I'm just joking. I'm not being too real, not too serious. But I appreciate that. Thank you for the nice comment. Bad rep sample. Every kid in Canada want to grow up to be Crosby, and now they got no goal. They have goalies in Canada. They just didn't pick them. I don't know why. I don't know why Thompson or Blackwood's not on this roster, but that is a pretty funny comment. I mean, because Crosby's been one of the best players on the planet for such a long time, and it's kind of weird with Crosby. I'll say in this regard because like we're in love with like a McDavid now and a McKinnon. I'm not saying forgotten or just I sometimes I think we forget to appreciate how good Crosby was throughout his whole career, and how good he still is. Because I think he's on an over point per game pace right now. Honestly, American, Canada, and Russia are all pretty much equal when it comes to hockey. I mean, they all have some phenomenal talent. Uh, they says McDavid got rocked by McAvoy tonight. Yeah, yeah. Um, that was a good hit. Cyclone Thomas Harley not being able to practice with the team was a weird rule. Yeah, I just like why? Like if you're gonna be able to bring a guy in, just let him practice. That's kind of goofy. That is really goofy actually. Wish McAvoy played like that for the Bruins. Yes, and that can be a whole different video. I'm actually kind of planning on having, depending on how things go, how much better McAvoy looks. And I literally only comment that because you can't. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Um, or don't want to face them in the Olympics when it happens. Um, I think regardless, USA Canada is always going to have that great rivalry. Really, being down our first D pairing didn't help. No, it didn't help. I mean, hopefully Makar is good to go for the next game because it's like, as a fan of hockey, I want to see the best of the best play. You don't want illness or anything, and you're hoping everybody gets out of this tournament healthy. I mean, unfortunately for Theodore, that wasn't the case, but that kind of sucks. But as a Canadian, the Americans are the better team. I think I think it's just very close. I defensively tonight, the Americans were a little bit better, and then I think Bennington, first goal, he definitely wants to have back. Canada has all the pieces though to beat the Americans. They just do. Best way on controversy, divert attention to a word that is fair. Where is Swayman though? Where he should be on the bench. Because if Swayman was in this game tonight, Canada probably scores 6. And I'm saying that as a Bruins fan. Hyman's an absolute bastard in front of the net. Yeah, he is. He's an absolute animal in front of that net. Allmark got selected, so where did the Bruins F out signing? They went with the younger guy, and I understood it, but I think Sweeney kind of mismanaged his assets. I don't think he dealt with them properly, and that's like a whole like I've had videos on the channel talking about that already, but I think that was a mismanagement of assets, especially for what you got in return. I mean, Castellic, I like. Dean Letourneau for BC, he's a freshman, and it's not like he's lighting up the world, so we'll see. We'll see how that turns out in the long run. Yeah, the next Olympics, I'm actually really excited for. I mean, I really am. I can't, like, I'm not saying Germany's going to win because they're not, but, like, Draisaitl playing for his country, that's cool, in my opinion. McDavid is the best chance he has it for sure. USA has a ton of blocks. I believe they did. McDavid is the Tom Brady. Well, he's got to win. He's got to win championships. If McDavid can win a championship, it kind of helps solidify like his spot. And it's like I don't even like saying that at times because it's a team sport. But like when you have these like best of all time, greatest of all time discussions, rings do matter. I think he'll get a ring, and he might get multiple rings with how good he is, and if depending on how the Oilers manage that roster going forward. But I mean, I think if McDavid wins at least one ring, and he keeps producing at the clips he has produced in his career, I mean, you could, when it's all said and done, he'll be in that conversation of like the Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux type. He will. Canada needs to sign Swayman. No, Canada does not want Swayman this year. Last year's Swayman you wanted, not this year's. Skinner and Thompson would have been better picks. Skinner, I hate this. I'm just not big on Skinner. Stewart's, I'm just not. I think, but I agree on Thompson. Thompson would have been I don't get that. Like he's, because kind of, let me look at, like, I'm going to pull up the stats here actually now. All right, because I want to. Goalies. All right. I mean, Hellebuck won. Wait, why is this all jacked up? What is going on here? I am so confused. Okay. All right. That's usually why I use Corner Hockey for this, but let me get, okay. I'll just go kind of here. Because I am a simple man. Hellebuck, 2.06 goals against average. Like, I mean, that's why he's there. But I mean, look at Logan Thompson. He's fourth in the league, 2.23, right? Save percentage. Hellebuck at 9.25, but then you have Logan Thompson, 9.21. Blackwood, 9.17 save percentage. Actually, Blackwood, because he's a guy I think they should have picked. Right? Since joining the Avalanche, he's been brilliant. I mean, he's good with the Sharks before that, but so I don't understand why you don't pick them. And if it's as stupid as like, I'm gonna say this is a frustration thing. If it's because of I don't like him, I don't get along. Well, Canada, you shot yourself in the foot. You're fucking stupid. Sorry. I mean, I'll say this as an American, like JT Miller, he doesn't necessarily have the best reputation with certain people. They still picked him. Like, if you want to win, that's what you do. You pick, within reason. Now, mind you, if somebody was like kneecapping somebody with pistols in the locker room, then yeah, you don't put them on the team. But like, come on. Gier, Longo, Brodeur, yeah, they all need to come back. I mean, Shakir was so good. USA's defense swarmed. Our offense blocking shots, taking away the passing lanes, and top of all of that, the man between the pipes for USA is the best player in the tournament. Yeah, Hellebuck's been great. Marchand is terrible on Canada. I can't believe Sweden lost 2 times, though. I figured Finland was going to be out. Marchand's just kind of, he's not prime Marchand. I think he's fine enough. I mean, he had his little, he had his moment, but, against Sweden. But, like, yeah, I mean, he's not what prime Marchand. We were robbed of seeing Makar and Quinn Hughes. I mean, yeah, that does kind of suck. Just 2 of the best defensemen facing each other in the world. Yeah. Fox is so effective, you don't even notice him. It's actually kind of a criticism that some people have had of him on the Rangers this year. Is like, He's been kind of struggling a bit, but I mean, I think his first game he had some down moments, but he looks really good in this game. He just did. I got to give that to Fox. Swayman is the best as a Bruins fan. Uh, I listen. I'm hoping Swayman. I mean, he's played better recently, but I'm hoping he turns around. But he's the third on this roster. Swayman was definitely a pain in the ass last spot. Did he fall off? I don't know what it is. I think goalies can be weird. They can have down years. I'm not gonna say the training camp thing because like yes, you missed training camp, but come on, it shouldn't be it shouldn't take what is it, February, like what is that, 4 months, right? Yeah, 4 months. It shouldn't take, no, Jesus Christ, Paul, that's actually longer, like 5 months, 5 6 months, but because October, I'll just say 4 or 5 months. He's struggled. I think the team in front of him has also not been great, but he's letting a lot of weak goals. And I like Swayman. I think highly of him. I think he'll be able to right the ship. But I'm not ready here to anoint him as the greatest goalie of all time. I just think he needs to get his head straight and just focus on the game. His watching Swayman night in, night out, when he's playing really well, he's reading the play really well. But when he's struggling, he doesn't read the play. He has the athletic ability to be very good in net, but there's some nights I think it's because he's on the younger side. He just doesn't read the play, doesn't kind of anticipate properly like the elite of the elite goaltenders do. Now, with the cap going up, that $8.25 million contract, it shouldn't look as bad. But, when you ship out Olmark and you had like the best tandem in the league, and then you go from the best tandem and you're kind of expected to be the guy, and Corpusalo is putting up respectable stats, as it's not the greatest look. I think he'll be able to bounce back. I think it's just one of these outlier years that goaltenders can do have, because he's shown Case Swayman that he's usually improved every single year. I think it's a rough year, but he has the ability to kind of turn things around, in my opinion. You think the NFL should do a Four Nation every year? They should. I mean, I prefer it over the All Star game, Four Nation, World Cup, or Olympics over the All Star. I'm not a big guy for the All Star break. I just not. It's like the skill competition used to be kind of cool. I think the premise of it was kind of cool at times, but like when you're doing this whole, the whole 3-on-3, it just doesn't have the same meaning it does anymore. I mean, most of the All Star games across all major sports just aren't great, and nothing really. And I prefer this. Yeah, I wish Quinn Hughes was playing as well. McDavid to the Bruins. I mean, I would take that in a heartbeat. I'll trade Frederick for McDavid straight up. Who says no? No, but no, like I don't know how NHL sees what's happening. It decides to go back to the NHL All Star games. I agree. I mean, I think this is just so damn good. But on the flip side of this, as an NHL owner, I'd be like, well, I don't want my players like breaking legs and arms, wrist, and like tearing ACLs, tearing a groin in the middle of the season. So I mean, what's the other option? Could you move something like this to the summer? Possibly, but will it have the same draw? I'm not sure. I want Bedard on the Bruins. That's never going to happen. Chicago's going to build around him. Jet, they announced every 2 years, which is great. McDavid's feet are goat tiered. Yeah, McDavid has amazing wheels. He's so much fun. Right now, McDavid is like Dan Marino. Also, I joined in late. Were you rooting for America? Or were you rooting for the Kachucks? Yes, I was. I am American. I am in Massachusetts. I actually am a fan of the Kachucks. Even as a Bruins fan, I appreciate what they bring. I mean, they're the type of players you want to have your own team. I mean, that's why I think Ottawa and Panther fans absolutely love them. I mean, that's why they love Brady and Matthew. I mean, why wouldn't you? They have a little bit of grit to their game. They have some high end skill. They're the type of players you hate to play against, but you love them when they're on your team. If Hill can win a cup, Skinner can. I think Hill has a higher ceiling than Skinner in that regard. I think people forget because he kind of bounced around a bit until he kind of found a home there with the Knights. I mean, he was looked at one point as a very higher end type prospect, as a goalie of the future. Where was it? Was it Phoenix or Arizona, wherever it's called now? And then it went to San Jose. Yeah, so I think it might have been the Yotes. But he was looked at as a guy, and he got very hot. I mean, he also is the goal. He just got hot at the right time. He's shown that capability. Skinner, to me, I don't know. I don't hate Skinner. I'm just not sure if he can do it. I mean, last year they had just the Oilers went how far they went. If they have a better goalie, do they win? I don't know. Yeah, and that was the case. He wasn't didn't like him, so he wasn't picked. Which I just apparently was, Peter DeBoer and Brad Cassidy had an issue with him, and they both coached him in Vegas, or they were on the staff. Bedard to the Bruins, he's like the real brother of the Bengals. I'm a Bengals fan. Yeah, I guess the second goal on Benner was leaky. Canada was trying to be cute, make the simple pass. I mean, I think that's when you get to the upper echelons. I think a lot of these guys really want to make that pretty play. But yeah, I mean, sometimes simplifying the game can be good. There was no simple pass credit. Credit to USA's defense. That's true. Uh, it's contract and training camp. I think Swayman's in college too. Swayman's better than Allmark. I mean, I'm hoping that's the case. I wouldn't say Rick DiPietro. That's kind of harsh. And admittedly, I kind of have family, not family ties, but like he was a friend of my family, Rick DiPietro. I'm not going to disparage the guy. I'm not going to say much more than that. That guy was a very great guy off the ice, Rick DiPietro. Does a lot in the community. Fantastic human being. I'm going to be honest. That I'll show my bias there. I don't like to I don't like to speak too negatively on players because first off, they reached a level that I never did. I played some college and had some fun with it, but it's, when you reach the NHL, while you might have kind of failed at that certain level, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're a success. You reach the highest level of hockey in the world, right? And personally, with Rick DiPietro, I think injuries kind of knocked him off the wagon. And who knows, though? We might have a Michael DiPietro become an NHLer here soon for the Bruins, depending on what they do with Korpisalo going forward. Let's see. Matt Murray, that's rough. Would your 5 stars of the game tonight be in order 1 to 5? That's actually kind of a good question. What would be my stars 1 to 5 tonight? Because this is like off the top of my head. Let me pull up the recap. So, okay. So for one, I don't know if this will give me any flack. For one, I'm going to go with Hellebuck, just because I think he played a very good game. I think the defense in front of him played really well. So I'll give it to Hellebuck. I think he actually could have, like, if that rush didn't happen with McDavid, he could have had a shutout. And against Canada, that's insane. He played very steady. He wasn't panicking. He kind of sealed off his post. He did, when he was in the RVH, he did it at the correct times. He read the play really well. So I'll say 1, I think Hellebuck. 2, I mean, I know Getzel had 2 goals. I think Slavin, though, played so good defensively. Really good defensively, I think. I'm going to give Slavin 2. Getzel had a goal, but I think the first goal was a little leaky by Bennington. But, he scored, and he scored an empty netter. Now, that's something I could score, maybe. But then I'm kind of torn because I think McDavid had some. David, I mean, there was 1 goal. I'll go with Getzel because they won. I'll go with McDavid. And then for 4. And then who would I really want? Like, who was that guy that really kind of stood out to me a lot? I think Werenski had a pretty good game. It sucks because I'm actually doing like a film thing tomorrow morning when I wake up. So the defense played really good. And then, I mean, Larkin did score on that terrible change for the Canadians. I guess I'll go. I guess I'll go with Larkin because he did score. So I'll go with Larkin. I don't know. I don't know. Like that's kind of just off the top of the head. Like I'd have to really kind of look into it. But I think that I guess that's my subject. Some like kind of random off the top 5 in my head. Emily All Star Game used to different home field advantage in the World Series. Not anymore. I think they did that because it got rid of that because just kind of little goofy. But I mean, it did make it mean something. So I think that was kind of an idea. I said the day we drafted RV, we should have drafted Kachuk. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely kind of showcased that self over time. I wish the Canucks had Brady. All we have is that soft, sweet. Oh my god. Oh shit. I feel the Rangers are going to surge after the Four Nation breaks. Skinner can let in three because he always can score four. He's good, not great. That's what I think. I think he's good. See, I think Anthony Niemi won a cup with the Blackhawks. Like if a team is built properly, I think anybody can win. I do. And I think Skinner can win if Niemi did. The problem I had with Cooper's system was that they wanted to enter the zone instead of playing a dump and chase, probably because Cooper doesn't trust Eman and goalie if Forrest can contain the puck. But I would say a dump and chase with the speed they have up front, especially in certain lines. Like I mean, when you have McDavid, McKinnon, some two. It's actually kind of crazy because McKinnon's really fast as well, but McDavid's just got that other gear. I mean, with certain players they have on that. I mean, Brandon Point's got some good wheels too. They could definitely play that game and probably retrieve some pucks. I mean, that's actually a good criticism. My 5 stars in the game would be Hellebuck, McAvoy. Oh, McAvoy played good too. Shit. Yeah, that's a good pick. Doughty, McDavid, Gensel. Solid game. I don't hate Swayman. I really like Swayman. I'm hoping Swayman does well. I'm not. I mean, as a Bruins fan, I want him to become the best goalie on the planet. So I hope he does well. Lundell number 1 today. He was cooking. That goal was it? Was that the first? Which goal was that for the Finns? Yeah, Lundell. Lundell is one of these guys. I think for Florida, like that guy's got such high upside. He really does. He didn't Hedman's stunned face. That's funny. Facial expressions give me new life. They are funny. If Finland beats Canada, I take Finland under over the States betting for sure. Does Marchand get traded? No, I don't. I don't think the Bruins trade Marchand unless the deal is something really good for them in return, or if Marchand wants to get dealt. I think he's the captain of the Bruins. I think that means a lot to him. He took over after Bergeron. He was there with that 2011 Stanley Cup run, and I think if Marchand wants to get traded, it will happen. But I think it will be his decision. If the Bruins, if they trade him, they should at least get something solid in return. I don't like if I'm as a Bruins fan, I'm not really caring for immediate replacement in talent right now. I would be looking for more futures because the Bruins do kind of need to kind of restock the pile and get more prospects and get more talent in the system. Even though the talent, I mean, I think is a little bit underrated when you actually look into what they have and guys playing NCAA. Some guys over the seas developing. I mean, it's not the deepest by any stretch of the imagination, but if you get a few more pieces, I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like too many people are underestimating Finland against Canada. They might not have the best roster, but they're dogs. I mean, I think the reason why that's happening is because a lot of people just saw that third period and they just instantly assume that the team Finland is shit. Like, I mean, the most brain dead 98.5 radio show, which I kind of mocked in the video when Finland won today. They're like, oh, like Finn's terrible. Finnish people can't win, even though they just won a gold medal, whatever. And then so people get that stuck, like that lasting impression, like, oh, they lost 6-1 to Americans. But I mean, today against Sweden, the Sweden team that brought Canada to overtime, they beat them in overtime. It's not like the Finland's a terrible roster. They have NHL level talent and they play as a solid team. I think any of these teams could win this thing if they play in a style in which allows them to thrive. If they play within their system, any one of these teams can win. Yeah, that is funny. Pasternak needs to go. No, I wouldn't say Pasternak needs to go. I think you can't replace that goal scoring ability. Marchand is still very good. Yeah, Marchand's still very good for what he is at his age. I think people expect, the perfection line type Marchand where everything like in his prime. But I mean, he's had so many surgeries. It's unrealistic to expect him to be the same exact guy that he was when he was in his prime. He's just the guy's a warrior. Pasternak is no, I wouldn't say that. I think Pasternak's a very good player, and while the turnovers can get maddening, he's got his goal scoring ability. I think him and Geeky and Zaka have kind of found a groove. The Bruins just need to find other scoring. I mean, is Pasternak ever going to be a Bergeron two-way type player? No, but he's going to score goals this year. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear for the Bruins. He's been putting up a lot of points recently. I think he was the first star of the month. Yeah, I think he was the first star of the month. So the guy's been good. Sure, there's some annoyances in his game that, like some of the lackadaisical turnovers can kind of get a little grating, but the guy's a superstar. Unless you get him for something crazy in return, it just doesn't make much sense to deal him. I believe Canada versus Finland will be similar versus U.S. versus Finland. Slow, then Canada gets explode late. I mean, possibly. I think if the Finns just make sure they stay playing that 200-foot game and kind of similar to the U.S., like they keep Canada to the outside for the most part, I mean, they're in a good spot. I'm assuming Lincoln's going to get the next nod in net there for the Finns. So I don't think Lincoln's as strong as a goaltender as Hellebuck, and I think Canada could capitalize on that. But if Finland plays a smart defensive game, yeah, they could definitely win that. As Canadian, I'm ashamed of the U.S. anthem being booed. We all don't think that way. We're cousins. GG. I agree that the booing of an anthem is dance work as a Canadian. I know the majority is ashamed. It's weird. How do I put this? As somebody that's, been kind of, I mean, like, listen, I had regiments. I went to the Maritime Academy and, like, the, ROTC, things of that nature. Like, there's a lot of my friends are former military, and I don't want to get too much into detail because of, I'll just say it. Due to my medical diagnosis where they found some stuff cancerous, I wasn't able to kind of participate in the Navy, but it is what it is with that. I wasn't medically approved because there's a whole process on that. But, I do take pride in my country. I do take pride, but I will also, I don't get as infuriated with it because I'm just like, okay, yeah, you want to peacefully protest as long as they're not getting crazy and beating up other fans, whatever. Is it something I would do? No. Like if like Canada did something crazy I didn't agree with, I'm not gonna go boo their anthem. I do think it's a little disrespectful, but I'd rather them just boo and be vocal than do anything crazy. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but that's their right, and that's like I'm not gonna, you know, lose hair over it or lose any hair off of it. No, and I agree. I agree. Um, no, no. I know you're not saying it shouldn't be allowed. I'm just saying it's it's a weird thing. This is a weird territory for me. 'Cause first off, I don't like getting political on this channel for many different reasons. Because I can like kill. I mean, shit. I put 51st State as a joke in the title, of people unsubscribed, and that's kind of my own fault not realizing people wouldn't pick up the joke. But I don't like getting political on the channel because, quite frankly, it divides an audience. Um, but overall, yeah, I wouldn't boo. It's just not my thing. Like, be mad at the individual setting certain guidelines or trying to set certain things in place. Like, don't be mad at the people like of the whole country. That's kind of how I looked at it. I've always kind of looked at it in that regard. Excuse me. But it is almost 4 in the morning. I'm actually kind of surprised. There's been as many of you that have popped into this, and it's actually been kind of fun. It's weird. My 2 to 4 a.m. streams do better than my midday stuff. That's great. But I want to say a big thank you for everybody kind of popping through. I thought this was only going to be like a 20-minute thing. I'm going to be going to sleep, waking up probably, what is it? Probably not till like 9 or 10. And I'm gonna be doing a longer formed breakdown on this game, Canada versus USA, and then I'm actually gonna do the one of Sweden as well, in Finland if I can get if I can fix the footage. But yeah, I mean, I think it should be really really fun. So check out the Discord. I'm gonna upload it on Discord. I'll put it on Memberverse only on YouTube just because YouTube can be it's not gonna clear monetization. I mean, this last video definitely didn't clear monetization because I'm used so much game footage. But I mean, in closing, a lot of hockey channels have been getting hit with a ton of monetization, copyright claims. They've been getting hit hard. I know my channel's been. I mean, I know Eck just made another update on his situation, but for me, I still have the NHL hit me on some stuff. But I'm still gonna make the content I enjoy. I just enjoy talking hockey, and I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle in some more in-person stuff like this, in camera, segmented, not just live streams, recordings. It's still images, and just kind of have fun with it. And with these highlight videos aren't able to be monetized, oh fucking well, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So just hoping you guys check out the other stuff on the channel as well. I'll just kind of pick and choose my battles in that regard. And thanks, oh dude, thank you so much for the $5. You didn't have to do that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think that it was really really kind of you. Thank you so much. I think the yeah, actually that took me back. Sorry. Yeah, no, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed and came through the stream. Um, she's gonna favorite that if it lets me. Is he gonna let me? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. And don't do that, Paul. NHL loves shooting. I'll say this. I'll say this closing. I understand the NHL has a business to run and they want to make money, and these leagues want to protect their product. Where I get a little bit frustrated is when I'm definitely using things within the guidelines of fair use according to law. And there's been content creators on this platform that have fought for fair use, and they have won in court. I think if us hockey contractors really wanted to make a difference, we'd probably have to have something of that nature. Will guys do it? Probably not, because you're facing like $1 billion organizations. And is it worth spending all that money to potentially lose? That's a whole different conversation. But, for me, I try to make it as transformative as possible. Today, in this USA versus Canada game, I was a little bit more liberal with the time because I understood it wasn't going to. I wasn't going to. I knew even if I used just minimum clips, it was still going to be hit. So I was like, screw it. I'll add like instead of the 3 to 4 second clips I usually add, I'll leave in like 6 to 8 seconds because I don't care, and I think it makes the video look better. So, but yeah. So best thing you can do if you want to support creator, just subscribe, like, and comment, and then again, if you check out my other stuff, that also helps out too, because the other stuff in camera that gets monetized. The stuff that's clips, I mean, because I'm just trying to be transparent here. Stuff in clips, like for example, sorry, I'm like rambling. It's like almost 4 in the morning, so that's probably why. That's definitely why. Like the stuff in clips, for example, like the Finland, right? And this is what drives me crazy. So the Finland game, I had to put in escrow because I'm doing a dispute, right? But like the other games I've done, like the reaction, the Finland comment by the idiots, the USA game against Finland, that was monetized. Then the Canada versus Sweden wasn't monetized, and then a lot of the stuff on my videos can get monetized, but then like it's just weird right now. It's weird trying to figure out what the fuck the NHL and YouTube wants from me, because some get approved and I don't really change much of the production side of things. I'm using 3 to 4 second clips and then kind of explaining, but that's a whole different thing. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and thank you again for Bad Rap Samples. I appreciate the $5 dono, and if you have not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment. It helps out the stream, kind of gets it out there. And if you're watching this in post after they changed the title of the video, see, Cannon, I don't hate you. Just don't take my joke too seriously. I love you, and I'll see you guys the next one.